Jamie from Poolrite, home of the Smart Pool. I'm just here again today. I just want to bring you this short video of some revolutionary pool equipment. It's basically what we call the first pool appliance. It's about to be released here in Australia by Ross Palmer, the owner of Poolrite, and of course famously for bringing Pool sanitation to market. Check out all the gadgets here. It's basically got a lot to offer. I'm sure you'll find this very interesting if you're looking at purchasing a new pool. I'll talk to you at the next vlog. Cheers, bye. Okay, g'day everyone. We're here with Ross Palmer at the famous Barcelona Pool Show, and Ross has got his oversized coffee machine here. Ross, can you explain to us what this contraption actually is?
Certainly, Jamie. In 1999, when I bought Poolrite, I had a passion that I wanted to change the way pool equipment looked, both in function and in form. It seemed to me that here we were erecting mini oil refineries or rat's nests in people's backyards, little science about the hydrology. It's easier said than done, of course, and I've personally spent over 10,000 hours in 10 years working on this. This is actually prototype number 40, but is actually going into production on the 1st of December, and thanks to a good team of dedicated engineers and staff, I don't do it on my own. We've been able to pull this all together.
So Ross, you're telling me this isn't a coffee machine, this is actually, this is pool equipment?
Well, yes, Jamie, it looks like a coffee machine, and gone are the days of those multiple boxes on the wall, bugs crawl in them, geckos get fried. We don't have that. One plug goes into the wall. No need for huge electricians' bills to come in and wire up boxes. Standard 10 amp plug. All the electrics are immersed in oil, in a pouch in here. Nothing can get in there. The controllers are all in here. Over here we have a pre-filter, which in backwash mode acts as a water treatment station. We don't waste 1 ounce of water here.
So there's no need to backwash to the sewer anymore?
No need to backwash to the sewer. In fact, this is far more efficient even than cartridge filtration. There is a myth that cartridges are water saving, but you get the 4 plastic cartridges and you could be spending, contrary to popular belief, you're supposed to clean them out every 2 months because of the biofilm and alginate forms. You could be spending up to 6,000 litres a year just hosing the cartridges out.
So essentially all you do is take that out and that becomes your backwash?
Exactly. Well, in its base form, it's a leaf catcher and a hair and lint pot. No need to capture it at the skimmer box anymore. And when it comes time to clean the filter, we take this off, simple twist lock, put a bag in there with some small amount of hydrogen peroxide powder, and we relieve the filter, capture it all in the bag, and it just circulates around.
So zero water waste and minimum electricity usage, and it looks pretty good too.
Yes, it does. And we've gone here for a 4-pole, 2-pole motor. So the top power is 1100 watts, the low power is 280 watts. It actually qualifies for the Energex rebate. This is a 7-star rating on the, and it doesn't cost a fortune to fix. It does all the drives are controlled from here rather than on top of the motor. Now, this is a proven pump that we mount vertically, and there's huge savings using this system. There's really no need to use any chemicals.
And so where does the sanitation system go on this particular one, Ross?
Yeah, well, it's controlled and driven out of the unit here, all the boards here, but we have down here, particularly on the Pool model, we have what we call a Davenant cell. We've been able to configure this cell with nickel molybdenum plates. It makes half the amount of chlorine of a regular cell, but we make a lot of ozone, hydrogen peroxide, and a little chlorine dioxide, and they combine to form what we call a trioxidane or hydroxyl radical, that basically reaction lasts for a millisecond and it just takes everything out, including cryptase, spiridium, giardia, and then we have a chlorine residual in it.
So that sounds
a hypochlorous residual.
That sounds pretty technical. What does that mean for the average homeowner?
Well, it means less hypochlorous acid in your pool, less chance to react, and absolute security for mum and the kids knowing that any nasty bugs, including the meningitis bug, it bombs through the cell.
So essentially they're swimming in a healthier body of water. But what about testing? And based on this as a magnet system, they still required to dose with acid, etc.
Yeah, well, there's another unique feature here. We have developed what we call l'orange, the orange system, and we're using here 2 tanks. The bottom tank is a patent combination of oxalic acid, citric acid and ascorbic acid. Now, you mix that up in a powder, it's quite safe, it's not fuming, and you're able to, with an inbuilt peristaltic pump, dose the pool with this, what we call orange acid, and it's actually vitamin C as well at the same time.
So if you've got a cold, essentially this could be the pool for you.
Yeah, well, that's probably drawing a bit of a long bow, but another interesting feature on this, it comes standard with no extra charge with pH and chlorine probeless control. There's a predictive algorithm in here, and with a standard test kit you can recalibrate this, and no need for some unreliable scientific probes in your backyard. So all in all, it's a complete package.
So if I could be critical, Ross, the only problem I can see with this system is when my pool service guy turns up to service this, he's not going to know what to do.
It's very simple. We have trained technicians at Poolrite Plus stores. This system, the MagnaPool system here, comes standard with 3-year in-field service. You're not waiting to break down. The first year...
so your guys physically go and check on the system after it goes in?
Absolutely. Instead, like your motor car, it's unrealistic to think that if you don't watch these things, and the homeowner isn't trained to know and understand these things, but that 3 years in-field service is built into the price, and you can actually then buy another 2 years or 5 years insurance on it for another $400 to get absolute 5 years unworried, not having to pay for the whole...
That sounds like an awesome system. In terms of like running costs, what would be a likely comparison between this and what we traditionally would see in a standard family pool?
Because we use no oddball toxic chemicals. I mean, you walk into the average pool shop, it's like walking into a witch doctor's shop. Everything's got skull and crossbones on it. The only chemical that goes in, if you could call it chemical, is the dry acid mix. We do not have to use cyanuric acid, we do not have to use copper algicides, which, by the way, are banned according to the Environmental Protection Act of each state of Australia and the government. People are turning a blind eye to it, but you cannot discharge copper back into the environment. We don't have any of that.
So bottom line, dollar figure?
Well, bottom line dollar figure, at the very minimum, you're going to save $700 a year in running costs. Mr. Pool Chemical Company, Mr. Energex, and Mr. Cartridge filter maker, he's actually paying for your savings.
So essentially, will this cost, it looks pretty good, this system. Is it going to cost more than a traditional system to buy up front?
Well, it's actually not. Due to the benefits of mass production, and it's a revolutionary new tank making technology here, and what we call the traditional Poolrite filter was a Titan filter, so we call this Titan moulding or titanium, and we're able to make one tank in 1 minute. It's 3 times the strength of a fiberglass tank in the form of stretch reinforced polyester. It's a Queensland and Australian invention. We've been working with the inventors, and that's the key part of our production line, and because we're using mass production principles of white goods manufacturing, the cost of this unit is actually coming down by $1,000 over what we had previously, and that's at the wholesale level. So it's actually good news all around for the consumer. Price is going down instead of going up.